Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
New at noon, police say the person shot and killed at this Raleigh apartment complex was a 14-year-old girl. We're live on the scene with more information from family and friends.
We're also watching history unfold in the last hour. Opening statements began in the criminal trial against former President Donald Trump. What we've heard so far.
And more people have told us they can taste dirt in their tap water from the weekend. Experts say why and tells us whether it's safe.
Straight up noon right now. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks so much for joining us. Opening statements began this morning in the first criminal trial against a former president.
And Michelle McConaughey has been watching this in the WRAL Live Center for us. A lot going on here this morning. Michelle.
Yeah, there is a lot going on this morning. Opening statements began about 10:30 this morning. Right now, this is a live look outside the courtroom. They are in recess right now. Trump's legal spokesperson, Alina Habba, I just saw her walk in those doors about 5 minutes ago. But here's what's happened so far. Prosecutor Matthew Colangelo spoke first. He spoke for about 45 minutes, saying this case is about criminal conspiracy. He argued that Trump tried to corrupt the 2016 election. He also argued that he mislabeled payments and falsified business records. Colangelo also said Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer's job was to take care of problems for the defendant, calling him Trump's fixer. Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, says the former president is innocent of the charges brought against him in a hush money case. He argued that Trump was not involved in covering up the payments and that there is nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. It is called democracy. Again, Trump faces 34 counts of falsifying business records related to those hush money payments to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. He has pleaded not guilty. Court will resume. I will follow this in the live center and bring you any updates.
All right, more to come. Michelle, thanks. Breaking news this noon locally. A student at a Wake County middle school brought a pellet gun to campus this morning. In a note to parents at East Cary Middle School, officials say this morning a student brought an airsoft pellet gun to campus and showed it to other students on the bus. Administrators were informed and the gun was confiscated.
The mother of a Moore County woman murdered has died before seeing resolution in her daughter's case. Yvex Franklin has spoken with WRAL several times about her daughter, Alicia Watts. Family members tell us Franklin died this weekend from health complications. Watts, you'll recall, was reported missing in July 2023. A month later, her body was found in Montgomery County near Charlotte. Her boyfriend, James Dunmore, is charged with her murder. Dunmore's next court date is in June.
And new information this noon on that shooting at a Raleigh apartment complex we've been following all morning. Family and friends tell us police are treating the death of a 14-year-old as a homicide.
The WRAL breaking news tracker was on the scene all morning off North Hills Drive. And that's where we find WRAL's Chelsea Donovan. Chelsea, what have you learned in the last few hours about this?
Yeah, so let's set the scene where we're at. This is the trails of North Hills Apartments, and we now know that Raleigh police have been here on this scene for more than 8 hours, and they're centering their investigation around a lower level apartment here just beyond the crime scene tape that's blocked by that green bush. Now, as you mentioned, family and friends I just talked to told me this young girl is a victim of homicide, an 8th grader, but police right now not confirming that, only saying that this is a death investigation centering around a 14-year-old girl. Now, police tell me around 2:30 they responded to a shooting here and found the 14-year-old suffering from a gunshot wound. Given her age, they're not going to release her identity. Police have been going in and out of an apartment that family and friends I talked to say was a party house. It's important to note that this young female victim did not live here in this community. Now, there are not a lot of details from police yet on the circumstances surrounding the shooting or if anyone has been arrested.
I think they're devastated. I think they're confused and hurt overall because these battles just didn't happen yesterday. But no mother wants to hear this. No father, grandfather, grandmother wants to hear that their child or loved one this young could be a victim of gun violence.
So just want to reiterate that Raleigh police calling this a death investigation at this time after a shooting, but friends and family that I talked to confirming that this young 8th grader here in the Raleigh community is a victim of homicide. We want to mention again, though, Raleigh police say no suspects are in custody, no arrests have been made. Of course, we're tracking this story and we'll bring you the latest on WRAL.com and in our later newscasts.
Just only in the 8th grade, her whole life was ahead of her. Chelsea Donovan live in Raleigh. Today marks the start of National Crime Victim Rights Week. To honor victims and their families in our state, the U.S. Attorney's offices from across North Carolina are collaborating with leaders and organizations to host a vigil. It's happening tonight from 6 to 7 at the Wake County Commons building. That's on Carrier Drive in Raleigh. The public is invited to attend.
We've heard from a lot of our viewers over the last few days about the taste of Raleigh's tap water, saying it's a little off, maybe even tastes like dirt. WRAL's Sean Gallagher spoke with city officials to find out exactly what is happening here this noon. Sean, what can you tell me?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, the city tells me the water is 100% safe to drink. Yes, the smell and the taste may be a little off, but they say it won't hurt you. And Raleigh Water tells me this is something they haven't experienced for at least 2 decades now. Now, Raleigh Water says this kind of caught them by surprise. A warmer April led to an increase in algae blooms in Falls Lake. Falls Lake supplies water for roughly 80% of customers in the city, which is more than 500,000 people. Under certain environmental conditions, the algae will release taste and odor compounds that can make it into your tap. So while it may not be pleasant to smell or drink your water right now, it won't harm you, according to the city.
Yeah, well, I'm in the water business, so I can tell people that it's safe because I know what the disinfection process is like and our disinfection levels. And this is not totally unique to Raleigh. It's just that we've been able to not have this issue in quite a long time. So this is really unusual for us.
And the city is taking steps to eliminate this issue. They're adding activated carbon and using oxidizing techniques to try to make this issue better. But with more than 2,500 miles of water lines across the area, it's going to take quite some time to flush out that water and get the new treated water into your tap. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Sean, thanks for that update down in Raleigh.
The Carolina Hurricanes are ready to cause chaos again tonight in Game 2 of the playoff series against the New York Islanders. We stopped by The Eye, which is the official team store, and fans were there checking out T-shirts and jerseys, buying them up to show their support. They tell us they are excited to see how this Stanley Cup playoffs journey plays out.
I am stoked, and I'm hoping this is our year for the Cup. I'm ready for a win.
Game 2 of the playoff series starts tonight at 7:30 at PNC. After that, the series moves to New York for 2 games. The next home game, if needed, would be a week from tomorrow.
It's a celebration of accessibility at Durham's Amtrak station. This morning, local leaders, state officials, and Amtrak representatives cut the ribbon on the new improvements. Durham Mayor Leonardo Williams says the upgrades include new automatic doors, and they're an example of a successful public-private partnership. NCDOT Rail Director Jason Orthner says the changes at the Durham station will help meet increased demand.
2022 and 2023, we had consecutive record-breaking years of ridership. Our ridership last year in 2023 was 38% higher than in 2019.
Amtrak Vice President David Hander told the crowd the company is committed to ADA accessibility, and they've upgraded over 120 stations and have another 35 scheduled for completion this year.
A North Raleigh dry cleaner is recovering from a fire this noon. Firefighters were called to the Pro Cleaners in the shopping center at the intersection of Creedmoor and Strickland Roads. The fire was under control before it could spread to other businesses in the shopping center. Investigators are trying to figure out what caused the fire. Highway Patrol says a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old were in a stolen car that crashed on Six Forks Road in Raleigh. Charges are pending. Officials say the chase started just after 5:30 p.m. Sunday when a car raced by on I-40 going 90 miles an hour. It then took Six Forks Road before crashing with another car. When officers ran the plate, they saw the car was stolen out of Wake Forest. Troopers say there were only minor injuries.
Next at noon, in-person classes have been changed to virtual at Columbia University in New York today. What Jewish students are saying about their safety on campus.
Also getting a jump on Earth Day. Durham celebrated a day early how the Bull City has improved its carbon footprint.
Plus, Passover feasts will be happening all around the Triangle. The FBI warning as Jews celebrate this holy day. Elizabeth.
And on the satellite map, you can see how skies are clearing across our area, and the sun is looking gorgeous. I'll show you why it's not really going to help warm us up that much this afternoon.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Today, all classes at Columbia University in New York are being held virtually after a series of ongoing pro-Palestinian protests and arrests on campus. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin shows us how the university leaders are responding and how they're planning to move forward.
This morning, as demonstrations continue on university campuses, New York's Columbia University announcing all classes will be held virtually today. University President Manoush Shafiq issuing a statement saying, "We need a reset to de-escalate the rancor." The university also announcing Sunday that it is adding more security on campus, including 111 additional safety personnel. The move comes as a rabbi at Columbia is urging students to return home as soon as possible. Rabbi Eli Buechler, in a letter to Jewish students this weekend, going on to say no one should have to endure this level of hatred, let alone at school. The campus tends amid demonstrations denouncing the Israel-Hamas war. New York Mayor Eric Adams condemning videos such as this, which he says shows a young woman with a sign pointing to Jewish students stating Al-Qassam's next targets. Adams also pointing to one incident last week, a demonstrator chanting, "We are Hamas." Shafiq saying in her statement tensions have been exploited and amplified by individuals who are not affiliated with Columbia, who have come to campus to pursue their own agendas. Jewish students expressing fear.
As a Jew, I no longer feel welcome on campus. I no longer feel safe on campus. And I no longer feel like I belong.
To be honest, no, I think my safety has definitely been compromised in a lot of ways over the past few days.
Last night, in a press release, Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine expressed frustration over, quote, inflammatory individuals who do not represent us, adding that the group rejects any form of hate or bigotry. And the White House saying calls for violence and physical intimidation targeting Jewish students have absolutely no place on any college campus or anywhere in the United States of America.
Aaron McLaughlin reporting there. We're still waiting to hear if Columbia's president will move classes online for the rest of the week.
Let's take a look at stocks. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 143 points, trying to rebound after last week's pullback. S&P 500 also in the green, advancing 25 points, trying to snap a 6-day decline there. NASDAQ is also up 80 points at this hour. This video shows the shocking moment a suspected drunk driver crashed into a building where a children's birthday party was taking place. This happened in Michigan on Saturday. The crash killed 2 children, a brother and a sister. Authorities say the 66-year-old driver's car went at least 25 feet into a boat club before it stopped. Police believe she was drunk. The children who died were an 8-year-old girl and her 5-year-old brother. Their mother and older brother were also at the party. They are in critical condition, according to their aunt in a GoFundMe post. At least 7 others are hurt in the hospital.
Durham celebrated Earth Day one day early, even in the rain. The city welcomed people of all ages to talk about the importance of climate change, how it's affecting our planet, and what we can do to help. Organizers say the event was all about celebrating Earth and taking action on how to protect it, including reducing energy usage. Sunday's event also looked at how the city has improved its carbon footprint.
Things like energy conservation in city buildings, adding solar panels to the roofs of city buildings so that they run on clean, green, renewable energy.
Durham has also made it a point to switch from gas-powered vehicles to electric. Durham Parks and Recreation is celebrating its 100th anniversary on April 28th. So a big week of great events surrounding Earth Day.
Yeah, Sunday was a bit of a misnomer yesterday with all that rain. Today, we should see a little more sunshine, although we have cloudy skies out there. Let's get out to Elizabeth Gardner there on the WRAL weather patio and feeling nice and cool out there.
It is. It feels really crisp out here. Now, when the sun is out and the wind is still, it's really comfortable, but it's a chilly afternoon out here, especially if you're in the shade or in the wind. We'll take a look here at the WRAL Gardens, and there are still plenty of azaleas in bloom, but it's definitely past its peak. As we go through the next couple of weeks, we get into hydrangea season, and there are lovely, lovely hydrangeas that are planted all through the gardens, and so it's still a lovely place to be. I've been watching some people out here in the gardens enjoying it, even though the temperature is 55 degrees. It's cool out here. Our wind out of the northeast at 9 miles per hour, and we're gusting up to 15 in a few places. Our temperatures this afternoon will continue to warm up. We're looking at mid-60s for highs around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. This is a look at the wind speed. The steady speed is on the left, so winds out of the northeast at about anywhere from 6 to 10 miles per hour, and we're gusting to 16 in Goldsboro right now. So it's a little bit breezy, and that wind is coming right out of the north, so it does feel chilly when that wind is blowing on you. We go back to the satellite again, and you can see those clouds from yesterday are still clearing out of the area, but clearing fairly quickly. We have some additional clouds that started to build in the Sandhills back over towards Charlotte, but a lot of those clouds are pushing out right now. So we'll see partly cloudy skies through the rest of the afternoon, and Futurecast, of course, is pushing those clouds right on out of here over the next several hours. So again, mostly sunny to partly cloudy as we get through the rest of the day today. We check out our temperatures across the area. It's a cool 50 degrees up there in Roxborough, 53 in Southern Pines, 55 in Rocky Mount and in Clinton, of course, and in the Triangle as well. Temperatures will climb on up into the mid-60s in Raleigh and Durham, 66 degrees in Fayetteville, 64 in Durham for our afternoon high. Our wind is coming right out of the north to northeast, and so it helped to bring in some of that cool air yesterday. Yesterday in the afternoon, it was in the upper 40s to low 50s with the clouds and the rain, and it was not very comfortable. So it feels better with the sunshine out here today, but we'll continue to see that cool air spilling in, so that we have a frost advisory in effect tonight for Mecklenburg County, Virginia, and Northampton County and the far northeast part of the viewing area. And we'll likely see temperatures there in the mid-30s, but we can see upper 30s in a lot of places overnight tonight. So that'll be even colder than what we saw this morning. This morning temperatures were mostly low to mid-40s. We're talking about mid-30s to low 40s overnight tonight. So 38 in Lewisburg, 39 in South Hill, 38 in Roanoke Rapids, 40 in Wilson, 39 in Goldsboro, 38 in Siler City, and then we'll push it down to the south and even some 30s in some of our southern counties. We're looking at 38 there in Robbins, 39 in Sanford, and 40 in Goldsboro. So it's going to be another really chilly morning for us with clear skies. Our normal low temperature is 51, so these temperatures again well below normal. Looking at 51 for Wednesday, but we're back into the 40s on Thursday and Friday, so you're going to want to keep the jackets around for the mornings really every day this week. Our normal high is 74, so we're a bit below that today, and then really just lovely weather Tuesday through Saturday with our temperatures in the low to mid 70s. I will say that on Wednesday, I'm tracking a front that'll come through. There's only a 20% chance of rain with this, but I'll show you the timing, and I'll also show you how far behind rainfall we are for the month of April in just a little while.
Elizabeth, thanks. A report presented to Durham City Council shows that its first responders are being paid below market rate. The push for raises for all Durham City employees at 4.
500 Side has warned you about a toll scam, and now it's here. We'll tell you what you need to look out for at 5:30. Plus, still ahead this noon, NASA's focus on this Earth Day is the condition of our planet's oceans. A NASA researcher joins us live to explain how the agency can help track the water's health.
And in our next half hour, can cities find the unhoused? The U.S. Supreme Court takes up a case today on the issue of homelessness.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Blue Ridge Road is closed between Ed Drive, and Morningside Drive because of a gas leak right now. This is happening right now. I want to show you on the map exactly where. So Ed Drive is right here, and it is closed up until Morningside Drive. So Ed Drive and Morningside, this stretch of Blue Ridge Road is shut down right now because of a gas leak. Dominion Energy is on scene. They say the road, because of repairs that they're making, should stay closed until about 3 o'clock this afternoon. afternoon. So if you are in that area, I'm going to tell you how to get around that. This is happening right near UNC Rex. Instead of taking Blue Ridge Road up toward UNC Rex, take Reedy Creek Road. That'll take you to Edwards Mill, and you can rejoin on Glen Eden Drive.
Michelle, thanks. The new movie Civil War registered another win at the weekend box office, and Congress is moving ahead with legislation that could ban TikTok. Those are among today's business headlines with Aaron Real.
Congress is a step closer to forcing TikTok's owner to sell the app or face having it banned here in the U.S. The legislation forcing a sale was included in the $95 billion aid package for Ukraine and Israel. The House approved the bill over the weekend, and the Senate takes it up this week. If it becomes law, TikTok's owner, the Chinese company ByteDance, would have to sell the popular app within a year. If its sale doesn't occur, then TikTok could be banned here in the U.S. over concerns that China's government could access data on U.S. users of the app. Tesla is slashing prices as it tries to boost demand for its EVs. The automaker has dropped the price on its Model Y, X, and S by $2,000 each. Tesla is also slashing the price of its full self-driving software. That's been lowered from $12,000 to $8,000. This is according to the website Electech. The move comes just days after Tesla reported a drop in worldwide deliveries of its vehicles last quarter. It was the first decline in nearly 4 years. Civil War was #1 at the box office for a second straight weekend. The dystopian feature rang in $11.1 million in ticket sales. The movie has taken in nearly $45 million since being released less than 2 weeks ago. Second place this weekend went to Abigail with $10.2 million in sales. Overall, the box office remains pretty slow year to date in terms of ticket sales. They were down nearly 20% lower than a year ago, that is, according to ComScore. And those are your business headlines. I'm Aaron Real at the NASDAQ market site.
Many people are getting ready to hit the road this summer and take on debt. A new survey from Bankrate finds more than a third of those planning to take a vacation are willing to go into debt to pay off their trip. That includes a quarter of them who will use a credit card and pay off the balance over several billing cycles. Those who aren't taking a vacation say the biggest reason is they can't afford it. We're just days away from early voting for the May 14th primary, and ahead, we'll show you how the Board of Elections prepares the voting machines to ensure accuracy on Election Day. Plus, details on a warning from the FBI, why law enforcement is on high alert for potential threats as Passover begins. And here's a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen right now.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Our top story this noon, court is back in session in New York City in the trial of former President Donald Trump.
Michelle McConaughey is watching all this happen in the WRAL Live Center for us. Michelle, what's the latest there?
Yeah, opening statements began about 10:30 this morning. Court is in session right now. This is a live look outside the courtroom. Right now, Trump ally David Pecker is testifying. Pecker is a longtime friend of Trump. He helped cover up potentially damaging stories about Trump. But court did take a brief break about 30 minutes ago, and stepping out of the courtroom was Trump's legal spokesperson, Alina Habas. She was standing exactly where you are looking right now. She came out scathing. She said, "This is where your tax dollars are going. This is a witch hunt. We are talking about something that happened when he wasn't in the White House that wasn't wrong." She says she's sick of coming out in front of the press and saying this, but she has to because people have to know what's going on. They are all here, she says, because they are scared of 2024, and they should be. Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, says the president is innocent of all the charges against him in this hush money case. Trump has pleaded not guilty.
Michelle, thanks for that update. Today is the start of Passover. As Jewish people around the world observe the holiday, the FBI and other law enforcement are on high alert for potential threats. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey has been at a Triangle area hotel this morning where hundreds of people will celebrate Passover this evening.
In just a few hours, hundreds of people will be here to celebrate the start of Passover. They're doing this through a feast called Seder. This hotel will be the meeting place for the largest Passover Seder in the Triangle. Millions of people across the world will begin celebrating Passover today. It commemorates the Jewish people's escape from slavery in ancient Egypt. There are mixed emotions ahead of this year's celebration in light of the Israel-Hamas war. The FBI says threats against the American Jewish community were up before the war, but hate crimes spiked since the October 7th attack in Israel. Federal investigators are on high alert this morning because of possible threats. Rabbi Zalman Blooming says they are using this day to celebrate and reflect.
When times get tough for our people, it demands unity. We all come together, we all sit together, and we all discuss how we can make this world continuously a place that's more of liberty and redemption.
Law enforcement across the Triangle will stay alert today, monitoring any threats. And tonight's celebration at this hotel begins at 7:15. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News. The push from lawmakers to ban TikTok is headed to the Senate and could soon reach the president's desk. If signed into law, it would face big legal challenges almost immediately. Lawmakers argue TikTok could be a national security risk, and they want the app to cut ties with its Chinese parent company. Local influencer Grace Hunter has gained more than 5 million followers over 3 years. Influencers of her size following could make around $20,000 a month through the app. Hunter and others are now waiting to see what happens.
Like TikTok just made it a little easier. It kind of evened the playing field for everybody. I'd be like, all that hard work for just for it to be gone. Oh, gosh.
The Senate and President Biden are expected to approve the bill. It'll be up to the courts to determine if it's legal.
Our county-by-county coverage takes us to Cumberland, Orange, and Harnett counties, and we begin in Cumberland. Now, the county board of Elections, tested voting systems this morning. Workers ran logic and accuracy tests on the machines that'll be used in the upcoming primary. Mock ballots for each election were run through the tabulator to ensure the system read the votes correctly. The primary election is May 14th, with early voting beginning Thursday. Orange County, town of Carborough, is celebrating Earth Day this evening with a special event. Town staff and members of the Climate Action Team will be at Town Commons with a Bike on Bus demonstration. They'll showcase other ways Carborough is being Earth conscious. That's tonight from 5:30 until 7. And in Harnett County, you can stop by the main library to check out a gallery of tiny art. This unique art show features creative works from Harnett County residents of all ages, and you'll be able to enjoy light refreshments and vote on your favorite piece of artwork to help decide the winner of the Tiny Art Show. That art show is tonight in Lillington at the main library from 3 until 6 p.m.
The U.S. Supreme Court will hear a case today brought by people without homes in Oregon. Ashley Grahams tells us it could set a new precedent for fining people for sleeping outside.
It can be easier to ignore all the tents that line the streets in downtown Portland if you're driving. But it's not so simple if you're on foot.
I just kind of watch where I walk and kind of just keep my distance.
Linda Krogh lives near Portland State University.
Of course, I'm old, but watching our streets be full of tents and garbage and people peeing against the buildings, and I mean, it's just not, to me, it's not normal.
On Monday, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear a case that could change how cities like Portland deal with homelessness. The case is Grants Pass versus Johnson, and the court will have to decide if cities can fine or jail homeless people for camping in public.
Well, there's not been a homelessness case that has gone this far through the legal system, ever.
Jeremiah Hayden is in Washington, D.C., following the trial for Street Roots, a social justice nonprofit based in Portland.
They've started putting in some pretty extreme measures that make it literally impossible to be homeless in Grants Pass without getting increasing fines and then eventually getting kicked out of parks, which then leads to jail time.
The small Oregon town says they need these tools to prevent sprawling encampments.
No jurisdiction, no city or county should be able to make homelessness a crime without providing the kind of shelter that we need in each community.
Chuck Curry is a minister and a homeless advocate who argues the criminal justice system will just make it harder for homeless people to get into housing.
What we need is more affordable housing, more mental health care, and more drug treatment in our community.
The issue isn't whether homelessness is a problem, but how to solve it. And Krogh doesn't think we're any closer to a solution.
You know, I'm old and I don't think it's going to get straightened around before I die. That's how I feel.
Every community is facing this challenge. That was Ashley Graham's reporting. Before hearing arguments this morning, the Supreme Court announced it will consider whether the Biden administration can legally regulate so-called ghost guns. Those are firearms made from kits available online that can be assembled at home. The guns often have no serial numbers and cannot be traced. The case will be heard next term.
Airlines may not have enough planes to meet the summer travel demand. What that means for you when you book your summer trip.
And take a look at this video of people talking. Well, all these people are not real. They are created by AI. How Microsoft is able to turn renderings into realistic talking heads. Far-right Republicans in the House are not happy with Speaker Mike Johnson. This is a live look at the U.S. Capitol building, where Johnson is facing criticism from some members of his own party. He joined with Democrats to pass an aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Despite efforts by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene to remove him, Johnson remains confident that he will hold on to the speakership. And there are representatives on both sides of the political aisle saying they support Johnson.
When the motion to vacate is threatened every week in the Congress, that is being abused.
He did the right thing here, and he deserves to keep his job.
The foreign aid bill faces some hurdles in the Senate. It is still expected to pass, though, as early as tomorrow. It would provide about $26 billion in aid for Israel, $8 billion for Taiwan, and $60 billion for military support to Ukraine.
Heading into what's expected to be a record summer travel season, airlines say they have fewer planes than what they'd like, which means ticket prices will probably go up. U.S. airlines are expected to receive 40% fewer planes than they planned for. United Airlines, along with Southwest, are pausing hiring because they just don't need the staff. Some airlines also say they don't know how many planes they can fly. The Boeing 737 MAX production delays could also play into this issue. All of this comes as major airlines are bracing for a record-breaking season.
The latest artificial intelligence from Microsoft can turn pictures into moving faces. Just look at this, one of the many examples produced by the AI named VASA 1. They gave the bot an image of a face and an audio clip, and then it was able to create these talking heads. The researchers say none of the faces featured is real, just renderings of people. Microsoft is not releasing VASA 1 to the public yet because of concerns that it will be used for misinformation.
Godzilla is about to attack the Tokyo skyline. The famous monster will be the latest exhibit in a series of images projected onto city buildings. It's a 330-foot tall Godzilla that'll appear in a 10-minute show on weekends through early May. Officials say the year-long project rotates different shows and images to bring art, light, and sound to the skyline. North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences' new Dueling Dinos exhibit opens to the public Saturday. The display will give you the opportunity to learn the history behind two well-known dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaur and the Triceratops. Tonight at 6 on WRAL, we'll give you an inside look at the exhibit and lab. Meteorologist Kat Campbell will show you how your family can watch scientists at work and do some discovering of your own. Again, that's only on WRAL tonight at 6.
Oceans make up more than 70% of the Earth's surface. That's why NASA is focused on ocean research this Earth Day. A NASA researcher will join us live to share the agency's latest projects next.
Today is Earth Day, a day designated for considering our impact on the planet.
Google is bringing attention with today's doodle. It features aerial photos from all over the world that spell out Google. It's made up of islands, glaciers, rivers, and other formations. Google also shared a video showing even more images that look like letters. Google says the pictures show the world's natural beauty and also that there is much to do to address the climate crisis. NASA is using this day to raise awareness about the importance of protecting our planet. Joining us now is NASA expert Dr. Kirk Noblespeace to help us celebrate Earth Day and give us the inside scoop on what NASA is learning about our home planet. Good afternoon and happy Earth Day to you.
Happy Earth Day to you.
So on this Earth Day, I understand NASA's focused on the oceans. NASA has a new satellite called PACE. It's looking at the color of the oceans around the globe. Describe exactly what do you mean by ocean color, and what does that tell us about the health of our oceans?
Sure. Well, the ocean is not just blue. The ocean has all sorts of colors, and those colors tell us about what's in the ocean, which is very important for a couple of reasons. The color of the ocean is dependent on the type of phytoplankton that live in the ocean. Phytoplankton are like plants on land. They have photosynthesis, they have chlorophyll in them, which means that they're various shades of green. So NASA's launched a new mission called PACE. PACE will have unique and first ever ability to really tease out those different types of phytoplankton in the ocean by looking at the color of the ocean.
And we will be able to see that from new images from PACE and taking pictures of the Earth's oceans from space. What are we looking for in this new imagery, or what have you been able to take from that?
Well, historically, we've been able to understand how much phytoplankton is present in the ocean. We haven't had the ability to really distinguish between different types of phytoplankton. Now, phytoplankton are the basis of the food web. So some types of creatures like to eat one kind of phytoplankton or another, and having the ability to distinguish between the two will help us understand the ecosystem of the ocean and also the response of the oceans to a changing climate.
And Dr. Noblespeace, PACE is also tracking small particles in our atmosphere, like smoke from wildfires. Why do we want to measure these tiny things from space?
Well, they have a very important role to play in climate. And also, if they're at the ground level, they can impact human health. You don't want to breathe too much particles, right? Mm-hmm. So the role that particles play in climate is actually quite hard to understand because they influence the formation of clouds. So you can change a bunch of particles in an area, and you can change the types of clouds that happen in that area, and therefore the precipitation and other aspects of climate. So by understanding particles in the atmosphere, we can better understand some crucial important parts of our climate system.
And Dr. Noblespeace, 2023 was the warmest year on record. How does that fit into the longer trends that you're seeing?
Well, we need to be making measurements like this as our climate is changing. Some of the fundamental features of how our planet works are changing, and we need to keep an eye on what those changes are, how ecosystems are responding, and how other things that create influence the climate are also changing.
All right. Thanks to NASA for all you're doing to help us better understand the planet so we can better protect it. Dr. Kirk Noblespeace, we appreciate your talk today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We take it from the oceans to the WRAL Gardens and take you out back to WRAL Weather Patio. Elizabeth Gardner standing on it, and a nice day it's turning out to be on this Earth Day, Elizabeth.
It is a great way to celebrate Earth Day by being out here in the gardens. It looks absolutely beautiful. Of course, we started this morning with some lingering cloud cover from yesterday, but take a look at the cameras across our area now. Goldsboro, Apex, Fayetteville, Chapel Hill, all looking nice and beautiful. Just a few passing clouds is all we're seeing. Now, it is chilly. You know, it was a cool day yesterday. In the afternoon, we had dropped it down to the upper 40s and low 50s, and we still have that chilly air mass in place with our wind coming out of the north, so it does feel cool. Here's a look at what's happening. That front that helped to bring us the rain yesterday is sliding offshore. There were a few isolated showers in eastern North Carolina early this morning. That's all really out of here. Of course, our viewing area is looking beautiful right now. We did have pretty much an all-day rain yesterday, but it didn't really total up to a lot in the rain gauges. This is a look at what some of the rainfall totals were for the past 24 hours. Of course, the rain started before lunchtime, so this is, sort of half of the amount. But anyway, we averaged about a quarter of an inch. There were some locations that saw as much as a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch, but it was really an average of about a quarter of an inch, just not a whole lot of rain. The last drought monitor that came out had a good bit of our viewing area under abnormally dry conditions, and that just in and of itself is not a huge concern. But if we see week after week of that, we're really drying out, and then it's not too long until we start to see some of the moderate drought. So we hope that will not be the trend as we get into the next several months. Spring tends to be a fairly wet time of year for us, and we have yet to see even an entire inch of rain the month of April. We're behind 1.5 inches, and we don't have a lot of good chances for rain through the end of the month. We'll take a look at one of those, though. Here's a look at Futurecast. Through this afternoon, we're looking at mostly sunny skies continuing. We continue to have our flow coming out of the north this afternoon, so it stays nice and cool. But we'll start to warm things up a little later in the week. Our next best chance of rain comes on Wednesday. We have a cold front that comes through. We'll pause it right there at noon, and you can see some showers associated with it. This is the European model that we look at fairly regularly, and then the American model shows even less rain than this. So it just looks like it's going to be a fairly moisture-starved front that comes through. We're going to give it about a 20% chance of maybe 1/4 inch of rain. We had a few light showers this morning, just down east, and again 20% chance for Wednesday, and that's about it right now. The weekend looks dry with some really pretty weather coming our way. We're sitting in the mid-50s right now, but we should climb into the mid-60s a bit later this afternoon. We are looking at a cold night tonight into the 30s, mid-30s to low 40s, so chilly start tomorrow morning, and then just really pretty afternoon highs in the low to mid-70s all the way through Saturday. And if you'd like to see it a little warmer, we threw in that one 80-degree day for those 80-degree lovers. There's plenty more where that came from in the month of May, that's for sure. Back to y'all.
All right, Elizabeth, thanks for that. At 12:50, we take you right now out to Edwards Mill Road area, where our crew has just arrived on that scene, and there are some workers there attending to a gas line that has ruptured right in that area. Some digging going on there. It's affecting traffic a little bit in that area. We're going to get a live update for you when we come back in just a moment.
Breaking news now in Raleigh. A gas leak has closed part of Blue Ridge Road.
WRAL's Destiny Patterson is on that scene right now. Destiny, what can you tell us?
Jeff, Renee, I'm on Blue Ridge Road right near Ed Drive, and you can see crews going into this hole here in the street. They're actively working to make that repair. Dominion Energy tells us that they did secure that gas line, but now they're working to repair it. Like I said, we're right near Ed Drive, and the next street over is Edwards Mill Road. So this is usually a pretty busy area here. Earlier today, they said that this whole area was blocked off, but now you can see they are letting traffic flow here. But there are lots of cones, lots of crews, so you should consider taking an alternative route if you can. These crews are going up about a block here on Blue Ridge Road. One of the workers out here tells me that they were doing some street work here earlier, and that is what caused this gas line to leak. We're still working to learn just how long they will be working on those repairs. Jeff, Renee?
All right, keep us up to date. Destiny Patterson, thank you. Also breaking in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, court is adjourned for the day in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial. The court heard opening statements today, and Trump's lawyers told jurors he is innocent. Prosecutors say he orchestrated a criminal scheme to corrupt the 2016 election. Trump has pleaded not guilty and denied all the accusations. Tonight, you can catch another performance from Goldsboro's Tay Lewis on The Voice. Lewis is now a member of Team Dan and Shay. He was originally part of Team Reba, but lost a knockout matchup in his last appearance on the show. Dan and Shay saved him, though, giving him a second chance. The Voice airs at 8 o'clock tonight here on WRAL. Kevin Bacon kept his promise to return to the high school where Footloose was filmed 40 years ago. We told you last month about the high schoolers at Payson High School and their social media quest to get Bacon to come to their school's prom. The school is set to be demolished this summer. Bacon returned Saturday for a pep rally ahead of the prom, and then the students and Bacon assembled 5,000 essential resource kits for Bacon's nonprofit 6 Degrees. They'll be distributed to young people in need throughout Utah.
They asked and he said yes. We now know who the newest members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will be. But let's go to our pet of the day. If you want to meet Bullfrog here, his friends at Safe Haven for Cats say Bullfrog came to them as a stray kitty from Nightdale. He had been in a colony for a while, and the caregiver believed that he would be a fantastic indoor cat. Bullfrog is a genuine lap cat who loves humans. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Your breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a
Keep
great Earth
watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.